Hey, special educators. Welcome to Teach, Taskbox, Inspire, the podcast dedicated to making your job as a special education teacher easier by making your instruction more fun for you and your students. Inside each episode, you'll learn how to get the most use out of your task boxes in the classroom. I'm your host, Lisa Holiday from Chalkboard Superhero, a veteran special education teacher passionate about empowering you with purposeful teaching strategies, helpful tips and tricks, and other classroom management tools that will help you thrive in your role. Let's get started with today's episode.
Hey there, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Teach, Taskbox, Inspire. I'm your host, Lisa Holiday, and today we're talking about how to train your paraprofessionals in an inclusion setting when it feels like they just aren't listening. If you've ever left a classroom thinking, why won't they do what I asked? Or I feel like I'm repeating myself over and over and over again, you're not alone. This episode is going to unpack why this happens, what we can do differently, and how to build a team that actually works together without losing your mind. Let's start with a little truth bomb. No one really prepares you for the fact that as a special ed teacher, you're not just teaching kids, you're managing adults. In inclusion, that can be especially tricky because your paraprofessionals aren't always beside you. They might be supporting a student in another classroom, interpreting directions differently, or working with gen ed teachers who have their own expectations. It's not that they don't care. It's that they don't always understand the why behind what we're asking them to do. And sometimes we have to face this uncomfortable truth. We've never actually trained them the way we train our students, with modeling, visuals, repetition, and reinforcement. Because para needs those same supports too. They're adult learners, and adult learners need clarity, purpose, and consistency. Before we jump into strategies, let's take a step back and look at the why paraprofessionals might not follow through. Usually, it's one of these 5 reasons. Number 1, they do not understand the expectation. What feels obvious to us isn't always obvious to them. Support the student during math might mean something completely different in their mind. Number 2, they don't see the purpose. If they don't understand the why a strategy matters, it's easy to skip it when things get busy. Number 3, maybe they feel micromanaged. Paras are adults. And if directions come off kind of controlling, they may resist out of pride or frustration. Number 4, they've fallen into habits. Maybe they've worked with other teachers who did things differently, and those old habits die hard. Or number 5, they don't feel respected or valued. And this one hurts. But sometimes paras stop listening because they don't feel like a true part of the team. Recognizing the why it's happening helps us respond with strategy, not stress. So clarity changes everything. When I start with new paras, I sit down and I have a kind of a kickoff meeting. And if you haven't done this yet, it's never too late. But here's kind of what I include. Roles and responsibilities. Who's doing what? Who's taking data? Who's running which groups? Then I talk about what support looks like in inclusion. I model what it means to fade prompts, or check for understanding, or wait for independence. All of these things need to be taught. Especially if you have somebody who's brand new to the building or brand new to the role. Then I talk about communication preferences. How do you want them to quietly signal you, write a note, ask you directly, yell across the room? Clarity prevents a lot of misunderstandings. And then I want you to talk about your non-negotiables. For example, confidentiality, professionalism, maintaining positive language in front of students, and make it visual. A one-page, quote-unquote, para expectations sheet posted inside a binder or a classroom really goes a long way. Paras appreciate having something to refer back to, just like our students do, kind of like an anchor chart. Now, here's the secret. You can't just tell paras what to do. You kind of have to show them. When I started coaching paras instead of correcting them, everything changed. And here's how I do it. Number one, you have to model first. Let them see what it looks like to use a visual schedule, or let them see what it looks like on how to prompt a student, or fade a prompt, or redirect a student. Then I want you to practice together. Hey, can you try that same prompt with Noah next time? I'll watch and I'll give you feedback. Or give private feedback. Always one-on-one, never in front of students or staff. Then I want you to acknowledge their effort. A quick, I saw how patient you were with that transition, goes a long way. And if they still don't follow through, document. It's not tattling. It's professionalism. Keep notes on what's been communicated and when. That way, if you need admin to support you later, you have clear data. All right, so let's talk about when paras feel like they're part of a mission, just not a to-do list. They're a lot more likely to kind of buy in. So here are some ways to kind of build that sense of team. Always use the we language. You want to say, we're working on helping Marcus transition smoothly instead of, I need you to help Marcus to transition. You know what I mean? I want you to include them as much as you can in the planning. I want you to ask for their input. What's working for him when I'm not there is a quick question that'll help make them feel part of the team. I want you to celebrate the small wins. Bring coffee on Fridays. Bring donuts on Thursdays. Leave a Post-it note that says, you handled that meltdown perfectly. Thank you so much. That goes a long way. And then finally, I want you to acknowledge their expertise. As small or little as it might seem, many paras do have years of experience or strong instincts, and you want to validate that before redirecting them. And remember, you set the tone here. When you model respect, your team follows suit. If you treat them like they don't know what the heck they're doing, then they're going to kind of follow that. All right, let's get real. What if you've done all of these things, modeled, coached, clarified, and your paras still don't follow through? Here's the hard truth. You can't make adults change, but you can document, you can communicate, and you can escalate it professionally. First, start with a private conversation. And yes, this sounds weird, and no, we don't want to be all up in somebody's business, but this is your job, right? Calmly restate your expectations to them and why they matter for the student's success. Number 2, have a written follow-up. Send a summary email. Thanks for meeting with me today. Here's what we discussed, and here's what we'll both work on, blah, 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 right? You want to have this in writing. Then number 3, you want to loop in admin when needed. And guys, it's not about blame. It's about accountability and consistency for your students. And while it's frustrating, try not to take it personally. Sometimes the issue isn't you. It's burnout or personal stress or resistance to change, whatever it is. You want to stay professional and keep your focus on the students. So here's the part that no one tells you about. Leadership isn't about control. It's about influence. You are the steady voice. You model the calm, you bridge the chaos and consistency. Your paras take their cues from you, your tone, your patience, your problem solving. You can be kind and firm. You can hold people accountable and be understanding. It's not an either or, it's both. And when you approach leadership from a place of teamwork rather than authority, you'll start to see shifts in how your paras respond to you. So if you're sitting there thinking, Lisa, I've freaking tried it all. I get it. I've been there. But remember, your paras are learning too. So keep on communicating, keep modeling, keep leading with clarity and compassion, because that's all you can do. And guys, if you have trouble and you don't want to escalate this to admin, try another adult in the building that you feel comfortable kind of leaning on and asking for help. Maybe they can point you in the right direction. And again, try not to take it personally. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Until next time, keep teaching, keep leading, and keep inspiring. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Teach, Taskbox, Inspire. I hope you've gained some tips and motivation to fuel your week ahead. If you're ready to explore more strategies for empowering your students as independent learners, be sure to dive into my free training at chalkboardsuperhero.com/training. And don't keep all this knowledge to yourself. Share this episode with your special education teacher friends who could use some motivation and inspiration. One more thing before you go. If you're finding this podcast helpful and want to show support, head to Apple Podcasts and leave your rating and review. Until next time, keep teaching, taskboxing, and inspiring.